was a girl, my mother had the front doorstep scrubbed and gleaming before the milkman came round, rain or shine, every single morning. A clean house was a matter of pride back then, and we managed it without a single fancy spray or gadget. Just simple habits. A few pennies worth of vinegar and bicarb, and a good bit of elbow grease. Many of them have been forgotten now, though they still work a treat. So put the kettle on, and let me share 20 old British habits for a perfectly clean house. Number 1. Open the windows every single morning. Before I did anything else, I threw open the windows. Just for 10 or 15 minutes, even in the depths of winter with a coat on my shoulders. A house that's shut up tight all day and night grows stale and stuffy without you ever noticing. And all that damp breath and cooking steam has to go somewhere. Airing the rooms clears out the fug, chases away that musty smell, and lets a bit of fresh air blow through the whole place. It does wonders for the damp too, keeping mould and mildew from creeping into the corners. My mother called it letting the house breathe, and she was quite right. You can spray all the air fresheners you like, but nothing beats good clean air straight off the street. Do it first thing while you put the kettle on, and by the time your tea's brewed, the whole house feels fresher. It costs nothing, and it's the very first habit I'd hand down to anyone. Number 2. Make the bed the moment you're up. A made bed sets the tone for the whole day, and my mother would have had a fit at the sight of a rumpled one at noon. But there's more to it than tidiness. Before you make it, pull the covers right back and let the bed air for a few minutes while you're washing and dressing. We spend all night warming those sheets, and they hold the moisture from it, so throwing the covers back lets the mattress and bedding breathe and dry out properly. Then straighten your sheets, plump the pillows, and pull everything up neat. A bedroom with a made bed instantly looks cared for, even if you've not touched another thing. And there's a quiet satisfaction in it too. You've achieved something before breakfast. Airing first, making second. That little pause between the two is the old housewife's secret, and it keeps your bed fresher and your room sweeter than any amount of fussing later on. Number 3. White vinegar and newspaper for sparkling windows. You'll not find a better window cleaner than plain white vinegar, and it costs a fraction of the fancy stuff. Mix a good splash into a bowl of warm water, or pop it in a spray bottle if you like, and wipe your glass over. Now here's the old trick that makes all the difference. Buff it dry with a sheet of scrunched up newspaper rather than a cloth. The newspaper leaves no smears and no fluff behind, and something in the paper brings the glass up to a proper shine you can see your face in. Vinegar cuts straight through grease and grime and dries without those streaks that catch the light so annoyingly. Don't do your windows in bright sunshine, mind, or it dries too quick and streaks anyway. A dull day is best. We saved our old newspapers for exactly this. Waste not, want not, and a shining window for next to nothing. Number 4. Bicarbonate of soda to freshen the carpets. Carpets soak up smells over time. Cooking, damp, the dog, all of it. And you stop noticing because you live with it. The old remedy was a good sprinkle of bicarbonate of soda over the carpet. Scatter it evenly. Leave it for a good half hour, or even overnight if you can. Then vacuum it all up, or sweep it if you're doing it the old way. The bicarb draws the stale odours out and leaves the carpet smelling clean and fresh, not perfumed over. It's gentle stuff, so it does no harm to your carpet or your sweeper. For a stubborn patch, work a little in with a soft brush before you leave it. I still do the whole house this way every few weeks, and it keeps everything sweet without a single chemical. A cheap box of bicarb is one of the hardest working things in my cupboard, as you'll see, for it turns up again and again. Number 5. Half a lemon for limescale and shining taps. Here in Britain, we do suffer with hard water, and limescale builds up on taps and around the sink something dreadful. The old fix was a cut lemon. Rub half a lemon over your taps and the chrome. Let the juice sit a while to do its work on the scale. Then rinse and buff dry. The acid in the lemon dissolves that chalky white buildup and leaves the metal gleaming and sweet smelling. It works a treat on the sink and draining board too. For a really crusted tap, hold the lemon half against it or wrap a lemon-soaked cloth round it for an hour. And once you're done, that same lemon's not wasted. Pop it down the sink to freshen the drain. A lemon does 3 jobs at once, which is exactly the sort of thrift we admired. Cheaper than any descaler off the shelf and no harsh smell lingering after. Number 6. A handful of salt for spills and stains. Salt was our first reach for a spill, and it saved many a tablecloth and carpet. Spill red wine? Cover it quickly with a thick layer of salt while it's still wet, and the salt draws the wine up out of the fabric before it can set. Brush it away once it's done its work and treat any mark that's left. Salt lifts a grease spot the same way. Pile it on to soak up the fat before you wash. Knock over an egg on the floor, and a good covering of salt firms it up so you can sweep it straight up instead of smearing it about. It even scours a burnt pan when you've nothing else. There's a reason we kept a big tub of it by the stove and never let it run low. Quick hands and a handful of salt saved us from many a permanent stain. Number 7. Soda crystals for grease and grime. Now, soda crystals, washing soda, some call it, were the workhorse of the old kitchen, and I'm always surprised more folk don't use them still. Dissolved in hot water, they cut through grease like nothing else. I'd use a strong solution for wiping down greasy cooker tops, tiles and worktops, and it shifts baked-on grime that ordinary cleaners just smear about. A cupful down a slow, greasy drain with a kettle of boiling water after clears it beautifully, for the soda dissolves the fat clogging the pipe. They'll bring your dishcloths and tea towels up fresh if you soak them too. Do wear a pair of rubber gloves, mind, for soda crystals are strong on the hands. A big bag costs pennies and lasts an age. In my day, no scullery was without them, and once you've tried them on a greasy oven, you'll understand exactly why. Number 8. Sweep with damp tea leaves. This one takes me right back, and it's cleverer than it sounds. Before we all had vacuum cleaners, we swept the carpets and wooden floors with a stiff brush. And the trouble was, the dust would rise up in a cloud and settle again the moment you'd finished. So we saved our used, damp tea leaves from the pot, scattered them lightly over the floor and swept them up. The damp leaves cling to the dust and hold it down, so it comes up in the pan instead of flying about, and they leave a wood floor looking clean and faintly polished. It works on carpets just the same. You want them damp, not sopping, and only on floors that won't mark. It's a marvel of make-do, using something you'd otherwise throw away to do a proper job. Even now it reminds me that the best cleaning tricks cost nothing at all. Number 9. Beeswax polish, little and often. Good wooden furniture deserves proper care. And in my day, that meant a tin of beeswax polish and plenty of buffing. The secret most folk get wrong is to use too much. A thin smear is all you want. Rub it on sparingly with a soft cloth. Leave it a few minutes to sink in, then buff it hard with a clean duster until it comes up to a deep, warm shine. Pile the polish on thick and it just sits there sticky, catching every speck of dust. Little and often is the way. A light polish now and then feeds the wood, keeps it from drying and cracking, and builds up a lovely mellow glow over the years. That gorgeous patina on old furniture didn't happen by accident. It's decades of loving hands and beeswax. And oh, the smell of it! Nothing says a well-kept home quite like the scent of beeswax and clean air. Number 10. Foil and bicarb to brighten the silver. Come Christmas or a special Sunday, out came the good silver, and it always needed a clean after sitting in the drawer going dull and tarnished. Rather than rubbing away for hours with polish, we had a clever way. Line a bowl with kitchen foil, lay your silver on it, sprinkle over a good spoonful of bicarbonate of soda and pour on boiling water to cover. Let it sit a few minutes and like magic the tarnish lifts off the silver and onto the foil. There's a bit of proper science behind it, but all you need to know is it works and it saves your arm a great deal of rubbing. Lift the pieces out, rinse them and buff them dry with a soft cloth. Lovely for cutlery, chains and small trinkets especially. Just take care with anything very old or delicate and give it a gentle polish after to finish. Gleaming silver for hardly any effort at all. Number 11. Always dust damp, never dry. Here's a habit that changes everything, and it's the difference between cleaning and just shifting the dust about. Never dust with a dry cloth. A dry duster only lifts the dust into the air and lets it drift straight back down onto the surface you've just done, or worse, up your nose. Use a barely damp cloth instead, wrung out well so it's not wet, and the dust clings to it and comes away for good. Then you rinse it out and it's gone down the sink, not floating round your parlour. Work from the top down, so any bits you miss fall onto surfaces you've yet to reach, and do the high shelves and picture rails before the low ones. Damp dusting means you're actually removing the dust, not rearranging it. Such a simple change, and yet it's the one that keeps a house properly clean rather than merely tidy looking. Number 12. A place for everything and tidy as you go. This isn't a potion or a scrub, but it's the habit that holds all the others together, so bear with me. A house stays clean when everything has its proper place and goes back to it. My mother drummed it into us, a place for everything and everything in its place. When there's a home for each thing, tidying takes minutes rather than hours, because you're never wading through clutter to find the surface underneath. And tidy as you go. Wash the mixing bowl while the cake bakes. Hang your coat the moment you're in. Put a thing away the instant you've finished with it. It's ever so much easier to keep on top of a house than to let it slide and face a great heavy clean at the weekend. Little and often again, you'll notice that's the thread through all of this. A tidy house is halfway to a clean one before you've lifted a cloth. Number 13. Vinegar in the kettle for the lime scale. With our hard water, a kettle furs up with lime scale in no time, and left alone, it'll ruin the taste of your tea and wear the kettle out early. The old cure, and still the best, is plain white vinegar. Fill the kettle about halfway with equal parts vinegar and water. Bring it just to the boil, then switch it off and let it sit an hour or two. The vinegar dissolves all that chalky scale off the element and the sides. Then pour it away and, this is the important part, rinse the kettle out 2 or 3 times and boil a fresh lot of plain water and tip it away, so there's not a hint of vinegar left to taint your brew. Do it every few weeks and your kettle stays clean, boils quicker and lasts far longer. It's the same job those pricey descaler sachets do for a few pennies of vinegar.
Number 14.
A slice of bread to lift broken glass. If you've ever smashed a glass or a cup on the kitchen floor, you'll know the big pieces are easy. It's the tiny splinters and dust of glass you can't see that cause the trouble later. The old trick was a slice of fresh bread. Once you've swept up the large bits, press a slice of soft bread gently over the whole area, and the sticky, soft crumb picks up all those little slivers and fine shards that a brush leaves behind. Then fold it up and bin it, glass and all, and no bare foot finds a nasty surprise the next morning. Bread works the same way for lifting fine dust or spilt tea leaves from an awkward corner. It's the humblest thing in the house, that loaf, and yet it's forever saving the day. Just do have a proper look with a torch after to be quite sure you've got it all. Number 15. Scrub the doorstep. I'll admit, this one has all but vanished, but it says everything about the old way of house pride. The front doorstep was scrubbed clean every morning on hands and knees with a brush and a bucket of soapy water. Many a step was finished off with a donkey stone or a cardinal red polish, so it gleamed a proud red or creamy white for all the street to see. A clean doorstep told your neighbours the house behind it was cared for, and there was real community pride in it. No one wanted to be the one with the grubby step. Now, I'm not saying you must be down on your knees at dawn, but there's wisdom in it. The threshold is the first thing anyone sees, and a swept, wiped, cared-for doorstep gives a good impression and keeps the dirt from the street being trodden right through your hall. First impressions began at the front door, and they still do. Number 16. Take the rugs outside and beat them. Before vacuum cleaners did the job for us, the rugs and mats were hauled outside of a fine day, slung over the washing line, and beaten with a cane carpet beater until the dust flew out in great clouds. And my word, the dust that came out of them! You'd not believe a rug you'd swept only days before could hold so much. Beating gets deep down into the pile where a sweeper and even a modern vacuum can't reach, shaking loose all the grit and grime trodden into the very roots of the weave. The fresh air and sunshine did the rug a power of good besides, driving off any damp and freshening it right through. Give your smaller rugs and mats a good shake and a beat outside now and then, even now, and you'll see it's true. There's honest satisfaction in it too, and it's a fine way to work off a temper. Number 17. Bicarb and vinegar down the drains. A slow or smelly drain was dealt with without a plumber and without harsh chemicals in the old days. Tip a good handful of bicarbonate of soda down the plug hole, then pour a cupful of white vinegar after it. It'll fizz and foam up wonderfully. The children always loved watching, and that bubbling action scours the inside of the pipe and lifts the greasy, gunky build-up clinging to it. Leave it to work for 10 or 15 minutes, then flush it all through with a kettleful of boiling water. It clears the sluggishness and, just as welcome, banishes that stale drain smell that drifts up on a warm day. Do it once a month or so to keep your drains running sweet and free. It's kinder to your pipes than those caustic drain cleaners, kinder to your purse, and there's not a nasty fume in sight. 2 cheap things from the cupboard, doing the work of an expensive bottle. Number 18. Never go to bed with a messy kitchen. This was a firm rule in our house, and it's served me every day of my life since. However tired you are, you don't go up to bed leaving a sink full of dirty dishes and crumbs all over the side. Wash up, wipe the surfaces down, sweep the floor, and set the kitchen straight before you turn in. It takes 15 minutes at the end of the evening, but oh, the difference it makes to come down in the morning to a clean, calm kitchen ready for the day, instead of last night's mess staring at you before you've even had your tea. A dirty kitchen overnight invites smells and, worse, little visitors you'd rather not name. Reset the room each night and you never wake to a chore. It starts every single day on the right foot, and a clean kitchen first thing sets the whole tone for the house. Number 19. Keep to a weekly routine. The old housewife ran her week to a rhythm, and there's real sense in it. Monday was traditionally wash day, the big laundry done and hung out. Other days had their own jobs: the bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen cupboards, the brass and silver, each given its turn. By spreading the work across the week, no single day was overwhelming, and nothing was ever left so long it grew into a great, daunting task. You always knew where you were, and the whole house got proper attention in turn, rather than one room being scrubbed to death while another was forgotten for months. You needn't be rigid about it, but pick a loose rota that suits your week. Floors on such a day, bathroom on another, and stick to it. A little each day keeps the house in good order effortlessly, and you're never faced with that horrible all-at-once clean that swallows a whole weekend. Number 20. A bit of elbow grease and a lot of pride. And this brings me to the habit behind every other one on this list. None of these old ways relied on some miracle product bought off a shelf. They relied on doing the job properly, by hand, with a bit of effort and real care. What we simply called elbow grease. We took pride in our homes, in a gleaming step and a shining window, and a kitchen you could eat off the floor of. And that pride was what got the work done. A clean house wasn't bought, it was made, with simple things and willing hands. You don't need a cupboard full of expensive sprays and gadgets. A little vinegar, some bicarb, a bar of soap, a few soft cloths, and the habit of caring for your home will keep it cleaner than all the fancy bottles in the shop. That's the real secret my mother handed down to me, and the one worth handing on. So there you are, 20 old British habits for a spotless home, using little more than what's already in your cupboard. Try a few this week and see how they suit you. Do let me know in the comments which ones your own mother or grandmother swore by. Now, I've a doorstep that wants scrubbing, so I'll put the kettle on first. Take care and keep house proud.